Hello guys, and welcome back to OneVsOneMe. I say welcome back every week, but I mean, you know what I mean. I'm Cakes, and that is D. And how are you guys? How are you, D?
I'm absolutely knackered. Jed, why do you have to keep going live right the night before we go live? God's sake, man.
I know. So unfair. But no, it was a good stream last night. I had fun. I definitely enjoyed myself. Even once that guy came on. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good night.
No, it really was. And John LeBon, like I say, well, I've heard his name about before. I didn't really, I'd never watched any of his videos or anything, so I didn't really know him. And yeah, it was good to hear what he had to say. And he definitely delivers in a very professional way and stuff, so it's easy to 100%. Take in.
But he does this. This is what he does for a living. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I don't want to say this in a bad way, but I feel like a lot of what he says is like pre-rehearsed. He already knows exactly how he's going to convey his opinion, which is good. That's good. Like if you want an expert on something or somebody who knows their shit, you want them to convey their opinion and what they found out in that kind of way. Exactly. Banana mug today. Banana. So today's Remembrance Day.
Well, Remembrance Sunday.
Well, yeah, tomorrow's Remembrance Day. It's the 11th. But today is Remembrance Sunday, where most people will be celebrating. It's not really
it's remembering. It's remembering. It's just
well, yes.
Yeah, remembering really.
Yeah. Hence the title of today's video, which is World War II, Forget Me versus Forget Me Not. And the reason it's that is because the other day I heard this thing on Facebook about this scrawny little dick smuggler on Good Morning Britain. And no, I'm not on about Piers Morgan, funnily enough. And he was going on saying that we shouldn't be taught about World War II or World War I or any wars or any history at school, which I personally think is codswallop. I just, if you haven't watched the clip,
no, I haven't, because you didn't send it to me, and I
know you haven't. But to be fair, that's not my fault. You could have searched Good Morning Britain, World War II, which is what I searched, but you didn't. You went and had a nap, which is also what I did. So yeah, and no one should have died. It was also, but okay. So yeah, I was watching his little spiel on Good Morning Britain, and one of the first things he said was, obviously World War II was a hard situation. I was like, underplaying it much? A hard situation? Like, are you a jelly brain? What do you mean a hard situation? Like, he was so underplaying it as though he didn't actually have any information about World War II at all. And he was later on asked, were you taught about World War II at school? And he was like, well, no. I was like, I can't. Like, I wasn't taught World War II at secondary school. I was taught World War II at college, because I did history at college, because I love me some history. Although now realizing that we're taught like a conditioned history, and it's very much one-sided. And I had an argument with my mum once about, she watches these drama programs about kings and queens, and I'm like, they're just telling you what you want to hear. They're not telling you any other side of the story. It's literally the English side. Same with, obviously, if you're in America, you learn the American side of history.
Victors write the history, so yeah, it's very much that way. But I mean, there are definitely sources to find out a bit more information, a bit more plumped up information about the history we've all learnt and stuff. It's still on the mainstream narrative, and you have got to question the sources a lot of the time and the agendas behind all this. But no, when it comes to Remembrance Day, fact is, we're all taught that soldiers went to war and died for our freedoms. Now, whether that's true or not, a lot of people went to war and died. Yeah, that's right, Kat. And I do think whether they were manipulated into this war or not, like, it's something we should all remember and learn from. Shut up, Kat, you're ruining my spiel.
Come here then. Do you want to say hello? No, she definitely doesn't want to say hello. Okay, she's got rid of my chat. Oh, it's here. Oh, Baljeet's here. What up, Baljeet? What's going on? As you were, Dee. Carry on.
I've kind of lost my place, to be fair.
Bad Chewy. Yes, my cat is called Chewy, not after Chewbacca, before you all get hyped up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Remembrance Day. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, lots of people died in these wars, and I do think, yes, they should definitely be remembered, whether the cause was true or not, or whether they were manipulated into this or not, like I say. And because, like I say, through the remembrance of it all, hopefully it will get looked into more, and people will find out closer to what really happened and what we were actually taught happened and stuff. So but again, that's up to you guys to go out and research. I'm not going to go all conspiracy on you right now. So
not just yet. The guy also said that we should be taught other subjects, and that they should replace learning history for things like how to save for a mortgage and how to cook and other things. And I thought, whilst that's true, you do get to choose your subjects once you, at the end of year 9. Not too sure what grade that would be, but I don't know if America works this way. But in England, once you're in year 9, where you're 14, you choose which subjects you want to learn. So I chose history. That was one of the subjects that I chose. But other people could have chosen economics and cooking and textiles and all the rest of it. You kind of get to choose what you want to do.
Yeah, no, it's not a massive choice, but yeah, you...
No, and you don't necessarily get to choose the most useful of subjects either. So you can't choose how to pay your taxes. That there's not an exam on anything like that. Well, how taxes are worked out. Go away, fly. So in the respect that children need to learn other subjects, that is correct. And there are so many things that I wish that I had been taught at school.
Yeah, but
again,
sorry, is this the school's job to be teaching the kids this? I mean, where's the parents in this equation? I mean, I really think most of what we keep saying the schools need to be teaching. No, your parents need to be fucking teaching it, is my opinion, right? But I mean, sex education, we've had this discussion before. I really think that should be taught by the parents and kept out of the school.
It should be, but cultures and religions dictate whether or not parents
let them have backwards fucking kids that were repressed. Then that's not our fucking problem. Like, why should we enforce our will on them and try and make them all open to sex and everything? Right? No, let them be repressed if they want to be repressed.
I know what you mean. He also said that, and this is the bit this is the thing that made me laugh the second hardest. The first one was the hard situation bit, but the second thing was that mental health is that learning about wars affect people's mental health. Now, to me, this somewhat rings true. I remember the Iraq War being on telly, and I was only little. I think 2002 was that the Iraq War.
Well,
was at the start of where it was.
Well, when I was at school, it was back in like the early 90s for the Desert Storm. Basically, that was like when we had the war stuff in the school and everything, and they were literally at lunchtime. They had the news on, and we could all go and watch fucking Iraq getting bombed and shit like that. So yeah, I mean.
So I think it was 2002 when I became aware of the war and where it was in the media a hell of a lot, and I did struggle to sleep whenever I heard a plane. I was 10, and I worried that that plane was going to bomb us. Any noise that I heard outside, I thought that it was Iraq coming to bomb us. But that was a present war. That wasn't a past war. I'd known about World War II and World War One for a very long time, because me and my family, we've always worn poppies. We've always gone and paid our respects. The church that's going now, that's on my road, used to, it wasn't a religious church. It was more of a love your neighbor kind of church. And they used to do a remembrance service, and we used to go on Remembrance Sunday, which is really depressing because yesterday was my birthday. Therefore, today, sometimes Remembrance Sunday would land on my birthday and I'd be at church being very depressed. But we always learnt about it, and the past war didn't scare me. The past war didn't make me feel anxious or depressed or anything like that. And he said, this boy said that people are getting increased anxiety over the thought that many people, because many people had died for you, and for you specifically. And that's not necessarily true, because they died for their country. They died for the people who were there presently. Like, when you go to war, you're not fighting for a grandchild that hasn't been born. You're fighting for your missus back home, you know?
Yeah. Oh, so I'm trying to let you keep your flow well. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but I read my name and I was like, oh, is this important to what I'm saying? And yes. And I don't think I've ever felt depressed because people have died for future society, you know. And I don't think that any of that rings true. I don't think that's an acceptable excuse for you to sit there and not want to learn, because that's what I think it is. Like, I absolutely love learning about history. We were talking on Jed's stream, or our stream, a couple of weeks back about some of the Scottish wars, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, well, it's not awesome, but it was very interesting to hear from a Scotsman about their wars. So yeah. But it made me, it also, to do with the mental health thing, it made me think, like, I don't want our children to be growing up in this fairy tale world where everybody's good, that nobody's going to hurt you, because that's bollocks. That's not true. And I don't mean little kids. Obviously, I'm not going to go teach my son the exact ins and outs of a war and whatnot, but
I mean, we kind of touched on this earlier when I said, like, I mean, your generation has been made very anxious. So I would say there is no evidence that we're trying to...
When Dee says earlier, he means 5 hours ago, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Carry on. I'm sorry.
Before my nappy nap time.
Yeah, and yeah, we were talking about snowflakes and how I don't consider myself a snowflake in the way that I understand snowflake. I'm very empathetic towards people's feelings. In real life, on here, I honestly don't care about your feelings. Well, I care about these feelings, but I don't care about you guys' feelings, because I am a random person on the internet. And if you take what I say to heart, that's completely, well, that's your problem. It's not mine.
Your parents raised a pussy.
Carry on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
It doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm so tired. I'm not going to be able to keep a subject in my head for long at the moment. I don't think.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, so I don't think people should be brought up in a fairy tale world where everybody's really nice, and because that's not reality at all. And
that's what I was. Yeah, I was saying this. To me, there's no evidence that that's happening, because otherwise you wouldn't have so many of these anxious people nowadays from the millennial kind of age, if you know what I mean. And
yeah,
the reason they're all anxious is because they're getting fear-mongered all the time. Fear, 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 fear. And it keeps them in this lower state. And you can see we've seen from young people on other channels. I'm not going to mention names, but the reaction, there's no thought. It's just rah rah. It's all me, rah rah, and stuff. And it's not good. It's not good. And
no.
they need, and so yeah, for me, I wouldn't say that I see any evidence of us trying to bring up our kids in some kind of like a cotton wool kind of thing. I mean, from the evidence that I see, they're just in fear constantly, and as Tom put there, that's the state they need us to be, because fear takes us to war.
But do you think that learning from history would prevent people from twisting and turning and going to the dark side, for example? Do you think that, or do you think that can encourage people? People can be like, oh my God, so he managed to massacre so many people, I could do the same just to get my own way. And
really is.
There's also that serial killer mentality where a serial killer will kill people purely and only so that people remember their names. Because we remember Hitler. Everybody remembers Hitler's name. You know,
I'm sure he didn't do it just so his name would be remembered, but go on.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that because we remember Hitler's name, could that then create another Hitler? Could that be like, okay, well, I want to be remembered the way that Hitler is because I'm twisted and I also have syphilis?
It's hard not to have a movie programmed response here, but if you look at like how movie have portrayed history and people in history, then yeah, it does seem like a lot of people just wanted to be remembered. Why wouldn't that continue? And this is the thing with, I mean, we need to learn from history, but what we really need to teach is self-responsibility, so that the teachings of history will not be turned into psychopathic means, if you know what I mean, and stuff. So people will use that knowledge responsibly, and that's half the trouble. I mean, you just never know where people are going to go with it. In a broken society, the chances are most people are not going to be prepared for any kind of life-changing information, really.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Do you remember the blonde? Do you watch this Good Morning Britain?
I haven't watched television in 3 years, and I was never awake that early. Yeah.
Can't remember the name of the blonde lady. If anybody in chat can remember the name of the blonde lady on Good Morning Britain, her name's just completely gone out of my head.
It used to be Richard and Judy, I think, was the last time I might have glanced at it. Like, they were the people that did the Good Morning show, if you know, or they were on around the same time or something. But
wasn't that on This Morning? Not Good Morning Britain.
Oh, is it irrelevant? Yeah, I didn't even know the difference. I didn't even.
Completely irrelevant. Anyway,
yeah,
she said that she went to the Normandy Remembrance Service on Tut Beach, and that she was talking to a lot of young people, and I think she meant people of between that guy's the guy's name, Charlotte. Thank you, Jed. If that's correct. People between the guy's age and kind of my age, she was talking to, and that for those people, it put into context just how bad life can get, and actually help their mental health and help them realize that their life actually isn't that bad. And I thought, well, do you know what? That could be correct, that people of my generation and my age could be at war right now if we were born back then, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could be at war right now, and we could be having to go and fight for our country and die for our country right now. So I think it could maybe put in context just how bad life could be, and that actually your life is pretty great, and look at how many freedoms you have. So she said that she found the opposite effect, that it was affecting their mental health for the good, as opposed to making them scared.
Well, see, this is the thing. Again, I would say it would, like you say, depend on your basis of comparison, really.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, if we've all lived this life where none of us have had to go to war. It's been a choice, and so you're trying to teach the same kind of things you've been teaching since the war to a newer generation. So yeah, I imagine it may have mental effects on some people, and But again, it shouldn't do if
No.
people were taught how to think and not what to think.
Yeah.
So.
But that takes us back to school. Because we're
No,
taught
it
how
takes
to
us back
pass
to the
exams. We're
parents.
taught.
Again, we can't keep laying this at the school's feet. We really can't, because we, as parents, send our children to school. We know the schooling system is inadequate, yet we continue to do it.
Yeah, but you also know that we have no choice. I do not have a choice. No, I don't, because I have to work. I have to get money. I have to pay for things. I have to eat.
Oh, in that, right, maybe in that respect, you kind of do, but ultimately, the choice is you really do have a choice. Like, you go hungry a little bit. I mean, I didn't have 3 meals a day every day when I was a kid growing up. It didn't happen because it just weren't the money. And neither did most of the other kids on my street, kind of thing, or in my schools and that. Only, like I said, it was only once I'd grown up and become an adult, all of a sudden, kids mattered, right, and stuff. So, yeah.
Hello, Chris. Yeah, I just, for me, obviously I don't have to send my son to school, but because we need money, I kind of do need to. And our education does need a good fucking shake about. It does need,
It
it needs
does.
a complete reform, because as a child and as a teenager, you're just taught how to pass exams. I don't believe you're actually taught how to be you're taught how to be a functioning member of society and the society that we have.
No, again, you're not taught how to pay taxes. You're not taught how to fill out forms. You're not taught how to write a CV. You're not. I mean, it's you're not taught about all the things you need in order to succeed in the system. You're really not.
Yeah,
Unless you go on to higher education. I never went on to higher education, so I don't know what they teach.
That's what I was about to say. I did A levels and failed miserably, and then I did a BTEC in business. And if it wasn't for that BTEC in business, I would have no idea how to write a CV. I learned how to write CVs from there, and then I helped most of my friends write CVs after I learned how to write a CV, because they had no idea. They did not know where to start. And I mean, this is going back 10 years now. So whilst there was still the internet out there, and whilst we did still have access to all of this information, it wasn't as easily condensed as it is now. Like, if you want to learn how to write a CV now, type away, you find CV templates and loads of information. But back then, I don't think it was as readily available. And if it was, I just hadn't looked for it because I had been taught how to do it. But kids, I learned about tourism. That was one of the GCSEs that I took, was leisure and tourism. I've got hiccups, which was one of the most garbage subjects. Like, that is ridiculous. And the thing is that people could be taught all the things that we mention. Okay, all the things that we mention. I know. In one lesson a week, they could just take away one lesson, or make space for one lesson a week to teach about these different things. And we'd have once a month, one of our lessons would be cancelled, and every kid in the school would have a special lesson. But it was a mess about it. It was just, we'd have sex education one day, and then like 4 weeks later we'd have gay rights, or we'd have something which in modern day society now, I think with all of the gay equality movements, I don't know, because obviously there are still some very horrible people who will beat up a gay person for literally their sexuality, but I feel like it's not as important to teach about gay rights in schools in this day and age. But I don't know, because my mum taught me, boys can love boys, women can love women, and that was my mum taught me that before school did. So I don't know, but there should be, like, and why do we learn trigonometry, Pythagoras theorem? Why is that taught in school? And algebra?
Because it's quite an important tool, to be fair, to have if you want to build a building, or you want to even business models and stuff use those kind of equations and stuff at times. So
well, then shouldn't there be a class that you could take where you'd use that? You know, isn't there far more important things that can be taught past that? You know, because I don't use algebra in my day-to-day life. I don't use fractions. I don't use, well, no, I guess I do if I'm cooking, but I don't use algebra. I don't believe I use Pythagoras or trigonometry or anything like that. I genuinely don't believe. And do you know what? I don't even remember it because it didn't interest me.
well, then it doesn't matter. Then that's how. I mean, again,
But it does,
you're
because
always going to get taught some
it for 3
things
years,
that
though.
you personally won't need, but others will. And this is the problem with the education system. They're trying to teach everyone the same thing when we're all different. And
but then at that age, can you decide what you want to do in your future? No, I don't think you can.
No,
I don't think we should.
Boys want to be astronauts and like firemen and stuff when they're in primary school. That's what there was when I was at primary school. Like, I mean, I wanted to be an archaeologist because at the time Indiana Jones was big, and like we all wanted to go off and find the treasures and the old dinosaur bones and all this kind of stuff. And but I don't think any person in primary school actually grows up and becomes what they wanted to in primary school. No, I mean, no.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I think that there's so many subjects that most people don't use now. I genuinely think that there's so many subjects that were useless.
Well, see, like I say, for me, I'd take out most of English class. Once you've learned to read and spell, I mean, I wouldn't be teaching kids Shakespeare and that kind of. Like, I'd take that out of a class, if you know what I mean. And like, I mean, I would literally, if you're going to learn English. Like, learn how we speak today, and like, we don't need to know how we spoke. We're not going to start speaking like Shakespeare again, if you know what I mean. It's just
or turn it into a debate team to learn people to be critical. To learn people. Wow, that was bad English. Yeah. I know. To teach people how to critically think. I think debate teams would be amazing. Teach people how to formulate an argument appropriately instead of people using their animalistic gut feeling and just rah 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 when no information is actually transferred. At the beginning of this video that I watched, the Good Morning Britain video, this bloke was saying so many words like I am right now, but none of them actually meant anything. None of the words meant a goddamn thing. They were all conjunction words and joining words and
It's rhetoric, word salad.
Okay, yeah, why not?
That's what I don't know. When the words don't really mean anything, but they kind of sound like they do, or you sound like you know what you're talking about, but the words out like when you actually think about it, no, that really doesn't actually go anywhere. Yeah.
Well, it took about 2 minutes to get to his point. That was it. 2 minutes to get to his point because he was just chattering on and gibbering on about absolutely nothing, which I guess I do quite often.
Well, to be fair, we've kind of gone off we have gone off the subject of World War II, forget me not, and the whole point of this guy's conversation you said earlier was that he wanted to stop teaching World War II in classes and stuff, wasn't it? So
yeah.
I mean, what do you guys think about that out there? Do you think we should learn about history? Do you think it's
we could drop the link?
Maybe it should be left in the past.
I would be interested to see what people think.
Yeah.
I can hear myself, by the way.
Right now, let me.
La 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 la. Whatever you've done, I can't hear myself now. But yeah, so I personally think that we should learn history. Not necessarily No, I think we should learn about World War II. I think it was for me, it was a very interesting subject, and because it was very close or relatively close history. My grandfather was in the war. He was a paratrooper. So learning how people were on rations, and it's not just the war either. It wasn't just the actual fighting. It was also the rations and the bunkers and how people had to survive and the make do Britain and just how different we are today. Like if something breaks, we throw it away. We just trash it. And I think there's a lot that we could learn from that era, especially which loops us to a lot of issues in modern day society, like climate change and environmental impacts that I have a new phone every single 2 years, which is incredibly wasteful. I do not need a new phone, and I know I don't, and I only get it because I want it, literally because I'm materialistic and I want it. And I shouldn't do that because it's very, very wasteful. The phone that I got rid of 2 years ago is somewhere in the house, lost. Like it's just, I have no idea where it is. It's just lost somewhere in the house. And there's so many things that we waste nowadays, which we really shouldn't. And I think there's a lot that we can learn from them.
Well, especially with mobile phones, because there's money to be made in mobile phones. There really is. Like, I mean, they need those precious metals that they use to make them, and if they can get them back from old phones, all the better than having to pay for it to be shipped out from Africa, where it's already, like I say, child slavery is dishing it out.
Yeah, exactly. And with food as well, like I was just going to say, we used to have to live on so little food. We didn't have this obesity epidemic that we have right now. And I know that you can see that I'm not exactly a skinny bird, because we have so much food, such a variety of food as well. And the amount of food that goes to waste. Bananas have to be a certain shape and size and color and everything for them to be sellable. The amount of food that we throw on rubbish tips because it doesn't look appealing. The fuck, people eat oysters and they just look like big bogeys. What do you mean look appealing? This is when food has to look appealing, especially when it's freshly grown vegetables.
Well, markets. I mean, this is the thing. Nobody goes to markets anymore, and that it's all to the supermarket for your fortnightly or monthly shop and stuff now. I mean, it's ridiculous. Because, like I said, I do remember a time when we ate seasonally. Even supermarkets, it was hard to get anything that was out of season.
Yeah.
And that even meant bananas and stuff that came from abroad, because there were still seasons for that stuff abroad. Now they've got so many different places all over the place that are pumping this stuff out. We can have it year round, doesn't matter. But I mean, literally, when I was growing up, shops weren't open on a Sunday. If you didn't have anything on a Sunday, you couldn't go anywhere. Literally, nowhere was open on a Sunday. After 9 p.m, closed, gone, nothing. You might get to an off license that was open till like 11, if you were lucky. Right, I mean, but I mean, we really are a spoiled generation. It's ridiculous how spoiled we are, and
yeah, definitely.
And we can tell. Like I say, I can tell by the younger generations just how spoiled we are, because they're getting worse. And I know you say that's not true, but honestly, they're like, kids are just dumb as fuck nowadays. They haven't got a fucking clue.
No, I didn't say that. I've never said that the next generation is smart. I have said that they would have the capability to be smarter because of the access they have at their fingertips, but they don't use it in the right way. I've never said that they are smart. I genuinely believe that they have the capability to be up there, but they do not use it. They're sat there watching mindless Minecraft videos on YouTube and people opening toys and just absolute gut. Why are they watching this? You know, I mean, I know you'll say, oh, when I was a kid, we only had, oh, my dad's always saying this, when I was a kid, you could watch cartoons at this time for this many hours, and that was it.
Saturday morning cartoons and after school for a couple of hours. That was it. Yeah.
And my mum would let us watch cartoons from like 3 till 4 or 3 till half 4 while she was preparing the dinner. And then once we'd eaten dinner, it was her time for telly, and me and my brother just had to entertain ourselves. And that was it. Whereas my son, I am terrible. I will let him watch what he wants all day long, and that puts me as part of the problem. It really does. But yeah, so I don't think that teenagers now are smarter than my generation or your generation. I think that they could be if they were taught how to use the technology they have access to. Because I didn't have a smartphone until I was like 19. Whereas kids nowadays are getting smartphones at like 6. It's ridiculous. Like, my son will not be getting a smartphone at 6. Putting my foot down. My foot is down. But yeah, yeah. So,
but yeah, no, unfortunately, our chat's been very mean tonight and not letting us know what they think about whether World War III.
No, bastards.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good, guys.
So I'm going to move on to that thing that I sent you today.
Oh, yeah.
The money one. So I'm going to read it to you guys. So let me pull it up. Bloomberg is worth 53 billion. Can't English. For perspective, he could afford a 100k condo for every one of 500,000 plus homeless in America, with 3 billion remaining, and still be one of America's 300 richest people. A system that enables one person to have so much while 500,000 plus suffer in poverty is immoral. Oh, it's there. And that really shocked me. Really, really, really shocked me. No, not shocked me. I think it just put into context how much money is in the system. I mean, your average person is walking down the road struggling. I know we struggle in our household. We're struggling to save for a mortgage. We're struggling to save, or even a deposit for a flat. We're struggling with. And then for somebody to have that much money where they could physically buy us a reasonably priced flat, it baffles me. Why are you laughing?
Well, no, like I say, I mean, value of anything like to that much is crazy. And I mean, Mick Stillwater. I can't even.
He's changed his channel.
Yeah, he's changed his name and it's confused me. But you know who Mick is anyway. And he was saying the other day, like, I mean, these people, like, you can't think in terms of paid by the hour. If you're thinking in those terms, like, you'll never be as rich as these people. And but the only way you can make more than you can earn in an hour is to make money off people who are putting in the effort to actually earn an hourly wage. And yeah, I mean, it's completely ridiculous. I mean, how we've as a species have let ourselves into this situation, I don't know. It boggles my mind. But
yeah,
we're here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, history is. Okay. So yeah, history is meant to stop us making the same mistakes. So why do we keep making the same mistakes? Exactly. I mean, it's why it boggles my mind, and it's down to, like I said, it's down to the programming. It's the media, the television, the movies, the radio, the magazines. I mean, books. I mean, because we think we can go off and find all this real, true information in the books, but who do you think owns the publishing houses that decide what books get published? I mean, it's the rich buggers. I mean, everything. I mean, we are literally fed a narrative, and this is the result of that narrative.
And we were saying earlier, the thing is that you will not find a charitable or empathetic rich person. You just won't. You hear of all these rich people working for charities or doing children in need. Let's say children in need is a really good example. They get lots of celebrities on who are worth a lot of money and who own a lot of money, who could donate to these causes themselves. The amount of money that they're asking poorer people to donate. Like, okay, they're asking poorer people to donate 10 quid. Well, that's all well and good. Yes, we can donate £10. I say most people, a lot of people have the availability to donate £10, but think of how much these rich people could donate to make the world better. You know. Sorry, let me read that. I can't read it on that screen. Not surprising at all. It even happens in the real world, where working class people will vote in a government that promote austerity. They work for them over and over. Society is becoming more and more. Yeah, definitely. There we go. It's on the screen for you guys. There has always been that saying: the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and it rings true throughout the years. And why do we let this continue? Why don't we stop this? And how do we stop this? You know,
why
for
don't
me,
we? See, we used to stand up more. I mean, like I say, I mean, I remember the poll tax riots and everything in this country and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, somehow they changed the name of poll tax to council tax, and we all went, yeah, we'll pay it. But so yeah, there has definitely been something since the 80s. Something changed in the 80s that messed people up big time, and that's when things really took a massive down sweep, as far as I can tell. Maybe I don't know whether it's just because obviously that was my young childhood in the 80s and stuff, but even if you just look back, it really does seem that in America and the UK especially, something happened in the 80s. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe somebody out there knows what it is, but something happened. It could be us joining Europe. I think that happened in the 80s, didn't it? So I mean, I don't know, but something happened, and yeah, people went to shit fast.
So for me, one of the ways that I think that we as a society could decide where the money goes is to support more local businesses. You mentioned earlier the markets. Every 2 weeks in my town, there is a little veg stand that I will always, whenever I'm in the town, I will always buy something off her. And we've kind of formed a rapport. She's absolutely lovely with me. I helped her set up Samsung Pay on her phone so that she could get transactions easier. Yeah. Well, so she could get transactions easier. She had better access then, because she's probably in her 50s, 60s, and she wasn't entirely sure how technology works. Bless her. She's just a simple gardener.
Well, see,
I will always support her.
I mean, it may seem like you've done a good thing, but ultimately you've done an absolutely terrible thing. You've made her able to use a cashless system, which is going to hurt everyone eventually. The more these people, like I said, every time someone doesn't use cash, they're hurting everyone else. It's a crime against everyone else every time you use your card and don't use cash. Because
I know what you're saying. It's just for ease of. Oh, sorry, I'm talking. I know I can't hear you.
No, you're okay. Sorry, go on.
For ease of her getting payments, she was telling me that she's lost a lot of customers who have said they're going to go and get money, and they haven't gone and got money, and they haven't come back. Whereas if she had that availability for them to use their card, she'd have made that sale. So for me, I've helped her. But I understand your point of view completely. But I think one of those things is go to a local restaurant. Don't go to a chain. I always go to a chain, and I'm bad for that. But go to a local place, like an individual, independent pub, restaurant, whatever. And we never used to have these mass conglomerates. And I feel like maybe the world was a better place when we had less big brands on the high street, and we had cute little boutique shops, and everybody was paid fairer. And I don't believe the age gap was as vast as the pay gap between rich and poor was as vast as it once was.
Yeah, no, again, since the 80s, that's gone wild. Yeah. So yeah,
and I genuinely think that is one of the things that we could be doing as a society. We stop shopping for those meat eaters. Go to your local butcher. Why are you going to Morrison's, Tesco's, and Sainsbury's? Go to your local butcher. Stop them being shut down.
There aren't any local butchers anymore.
Oh, well, I mean, there are where I live.
No, but it's chain butchers now. It's like Lidstones and stuff like that. It's corporation places that have taken over what look like these little family butchers, but no, it's a big fucking corporation that's behind it all now.
Yeah, see, we have there are two local butchers, so that aren't chains by my area. So for me,
Well,
I
you're
can
lucky
easily
then.
say that. But we used to have independent, I remember 2 independent veg shops, greengrocers, that's the word I was looking for, 2 independent greengrocers. And one of them disappeared about 10 years ago. And the other one has had to change. It's no longer just veg. They now have to sell like meal deals and
Yeah.
crisps
So it's basically like a
loads of other stuff
Spar or
just
a
to keep
Tesco
afloat.
Metro
It
or
has it
yeah.
has changed into a corner shop with some veg.
It's
They're
like
no longer able to focus.
when I first moved into this village, there was a local butcher, there was a local greengrocer, there was a post office that did all the bits that the greengrocer didn't. You know, all the like bread, tins of beans, you know, your milk, your papers, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And all gone. Now we literally have somebody that's opened an art gallery, and he's got literally a room not even as big as this bedroom that I've got, and that's got a few little food items in, and that's it. I mean,
Right.
so
It's a
if
sad state of affairs,
it
isn't it? It
doesn't
really
sell
is.
tobacco, doesn't sell alcohol. It's yeah. I mean, literally, I've got to go 2 miles either way. It's 2 miles that way to Alberton, or 2 miles that way to Yelpton to be able to actually get anything decent.
Wow.
There is a nice
Terrible.
farm shop over in Yelpton though, so I do shop there whenever I can. So.
Yeah, we don't. Where I am, there aren't farm shops. Where I am, it's about a 5-6 mile drive, which in the West Midlands, 5-6 miles is 40 minutes. Like, it's not 5-6 miles is a long way
Well,
where
no,
I live.
No, next year when the weather gets a bit better, I will do a video where I do the walk, because there's a back road walk, well, not even back road, through the fields basically, and that comes out at the close to the farm shop. So I might do a video of the walk, and then do a little video walking around the farm shop showing what's on offer and stuff.
So our chat has said they've got both parents working, so you don't have control over your kids, and that is so true.
Yeah, that is a big part
I
of it.
have to pay over £200 a month in childcare for my son, which is a third of my wages. For him to be in after school club until 5:30, because I have to work, boyfriend has to work, because otherwise we just can't afford anything. I physically cannot afford to live on just
it's
one of
not
our
just
wage.
the breakdown of the family unit, it's the breakdown of the greater family unit. Because, like I say, in the old days, there was always family about to look after someone, or if your family wasn't about, you had close friends' family that was about. And it's like, literally, we were like, as kids, we were just packed off, like not even packed off. We were just basically told, go out and play. Like, if you need anything, you go to so and so's house today, or so and so's house the next day. So, like, and it was like the parents would literally just take turns, like looking after like the whole street of kids, kind of thing. Like, it was just more of a community. I mean, and this wasn't even this. This was like well, just outside the city, literally just outside the city in Chatham, and this wasn't like some nice little village like I'm living in now. This was just a normal everyday place, like, and I mean, it's all changed. I mean, it's literally all changed. I mean, I walk down the streets now, I say hello to people, and they just carry on walking. I mean, that never happened in this village. I mean, literally, you couldn't walk down to the village in 10 minutes to the shop. It'd take you half an hour, because you'd have to stop and have conversations like all the way down there. Nowadays, you're there and back in 10 minutes because nobody's scared to talk. Yeah.
The only people that will say hello back to me is the elderly, is the old people, and maybe people above their 50s. Those are the only people that will say hello. Because my dad, thanks, babe. My dad, he'll be walking down the road, and he'll be exactly the same, but he knows quite a lot of people. My dad's terrible, and my auntie as well. She seems to just know everybody. We're walking somewhere, and it's just like, oh hi, and they'll stop for 10 minutes, and I'm like, can we go? Miss Fire put stop voting Tory first, and then shop independent second. I mean,
Stop
I'm not a
voting,
Tory
not
voter.
just stop voting Tory. Stop fucking voting, in my opinion. But go on.
Yeah, I'm not a Tory voter, which you can probably tell from my appearance. Because apparently
social
that
justice
thing,
warrior uniform, you mean?
I know, yeah. No, I don't like the Tories at all. I do not like what they stand for, and I just don't understand how so many people are voting for them. I can't comprehend that. I would love to have somebody here who votes Tory, because Dee doesn't vote. I voted Labour last time. In fact, I think I've voted Labour since I could vote. I don't think I've ever voted Tories. Yeah. My friend Faze actually sent me. Let me show it you. Because I've sent it to the boyfriend so that I could have all the things that if they came up, I could show them. So my friend Faze sent me this. Here we go. So this here is a list of big votes that each candidate has voted for. So you've got Jeremy Corbyn, Boris Johnson, and Joe Swinson. And so essentially, it's fucking disappeared. Let me read the top one. Gay rights. All three of them voted for. The second one, can't fucking read this. Same-sex marriage. Jeremy Corbyn and Joe Swinson both voted for, and Boris Johnson didn't vote at all. And it kind of just amplified for me more that I should not be voting for Boris at all under any circumstance. For example, he didn't vote in the bedroom tax vote. He didn't vote when it came to rising benefits. He voted for reducing welfare benefit spending, which baffles me when we've got so many people having to use food banks and stuff. He didn't vote for anything in regards to spending public money on guaranteeing jobs for young people, against increasing tax for higher earners. And every single question, I agreed with Jeremy Corbyn's vote. Every single question, which meant that 95% of the questions, or the votes, I should say, I didn't agree with Boris Johnson's vote at all. So, yeah, I do understand that. For me, it's the lesser evil when voting for Labour. It's the less evil option, and because so Dee doesn't vote, and Dee doesn't vote because you don't agree with our voting system, you don't agree with our government, and that is more than fair enough. But for me, I don't believe that even if 50% of the population didn't vote, I don't believe they will change anything. And I don't believe that there are enough people for us to change anything. So my main goal is to prevent Conservative getting in, because they have been in power for 9 years and the country keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Got worse and worse and worse under the Labour Party before that, and it got worse and worse and worse.
But that was Conservative. But Tony Blair was Conservative. You look at Tony Blair's referendums, manifestos, and you look at the way that Tony Blair voted and everything that he stood for. That is a Tory mindset. That is a Tory everything. It was a right-wing Labour, which isn't what Labour is. That's New Labour. But yeah, so I think I probably will be voting Labour again this year, or this time around if they change the date. Let me catch up here. Tory voter, however, yeah, in my area it is Tory as well, and his name's Julian Knight, and I absolutely detest Julian Knight so much. Let me read this. Labour is our best chance, though. Better to have them than Tories. Tony Blair was bad news. Gordon Brown too. Corbyn is probably our best chance. I like Corbyn, and I know that's a very controversial thing to say, but I really like what Corbyn has stood for. When you see him on the picket line fighting against apartheid, and I really appreciate that. I think that's a great.
So why is he back in Israel then? If he's and these new anti-Semitic laws and stuff, if he's so anti-apartheid, because Israel is an anti-apartheid, an apartheid country. I mean, it's.
I know, and that is one bad thing about him. But in comparison to Boris Johnson, where there are billions of bad things that I don't like about Boris Johnson and that I don't like about the Tory government, compared to, there's two things that I don't like about Labour. One is Diane Abbott, and the other one is that I don't believe the IRA bullshit. I don't believe that I don't believe that is the way that the right is trying to portray that. Yeah, both sides are corrupt, but one is better than the other. And that's the choice we're being given. As a population, we're having to choose between three main parties and a party that would completely fuck us up. Green Party is great to have in a few constituencies. In a few constituencies, you can shake your head as much as you like. I think that it's great to have a green push in government. It's great to have lots of different opinions in Parliament so that really bad things shouldn't be able to happen. But we are given the opportunity, we are given the choice between three people, and one of them is always going to be better than the other. And I think Labour is better. And that is well within your right, Tom, to not vote. And like I say, if you don't want to vote, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you must vote, you have to do that.
I mean, honestly, at this point in the system, we may as well just give control to the corporations. I mean, they're the ones that are paying the lobbyists anyway. So, I mean, they're the ones that are really like dictating what's happening. So at this point, we may as well drop the facade, get rid of the fucking politicians, and just put the corporations in charge.
Yeah. No, I don't like that.
No, but like I say, but I mean, to be fair, that maybe that's the pre-programming in me, maybe, because all the movies growing up and stuff are all pointing towards corporations taking over and all that kind of thing. And obviously now I'm seeing it happen. So.
Madame Medusa has just put, it's like asking what zookeeper do you want to look after you? I don't want to be in the zoo. And yeah, you're smack on there. You are smack on there. Like I said, there is not enough people who will reform against the system. There is not enough people. And even though we are well within our rights to stand there and be like, we don't like this, and protest and hang outside the Houses of Parliament, what are they going to do? They're just going to take you away and beat you with a fucking baton. And I don't fancy that. I don't fancy being beaten with a baton, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, which worse shit? A
so I'll put it up on screen. People can read it for themselves.
Sandwich. Yeah, and that is smack on. I will vote for the shit sandwich and not the worst shit. I can't fucking say that. Like, that's a tongue twister for me. My mouth isn't.
I think the choice is basically a shit sandwich or a worse shit sandwich. So I may.
So you did it as well. Worse.
The shit sandwich.
Did I say worse? Did I? Yeah, both of us said worse because we were both getting ready to say shit. Because it is fucking shit. Let's be realistic. It is shit. But do you know, talking about politics.
Well, sorry, Dagan's brought up a bloody good point, actually. The UK is a corporation, so the corporations have taken over already, actually. Yeah. I forgot that tiny little detail there. I know it's not really a tiny little detail, but yeah.
But yeah, speaking of politics, those two pictures that I sent you earlier, about how people keep saying our media is becoming more left and left and left and left and left. Now, I don't think that that's accurate at all. I think that the media is constantly contradicting itself, and one day you'll have not that one. The one of Boris and the one of Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, sorry, it's Savage Javid on the front. So this one basically is saying both Jeremy Corbyn and Boris Johnson have said that they want to increase minimum wage to £10 is Jeremy Corbyn, and £10.50 is Boris Johnson.
£10.50 for this guy, yeah.
Yeah, and the headline, if you couldn't read it, was Boris Johnson plan to raise wages across the country receives huge boost from experts. Whereas the other one with Jeremy Corbyn, in case you can't read that, it says Labour's minimum wage plan could cost you your job and send unemployment soaring. Now, I think that's because a lot of the big companies and a lot of the high earners are going to benefit more from the Tory government than they will from a Labour government.
But this is just something to think about when you're talking.
That's the other one, yeah. That one I thought was great.
Yeah, we did the maths as well, and yeah,
we did the maths, yeah. So I'll read it because it's a bit blurry. The concentration of wealth is staggering. Let's say you earn $2,000 an hour and work full time from the birth of Jesus Christ till today, and let's say you never pay taxes and saved every penny. You'd have around 8.3 billion today. There'd still be 30 Americans richer than you. So we did like you said, we did do the maths. It full time is 40 hours.
40-hour week, yeah,
40 hour a week. Times 52 times 2,000 equals £8.3 billion.
Well, it's 8.4 or something, wasn't it?
It was 8.36. So it's 8.4.
It was close enough anyway for government work, yeah.
And that to me was fucking staggering. That crazy. This is something that I was going to bring up as well. It's very funny that you've mentioned that. When I was saying earlier that you don't get rich people who care, the top charities, cancer research, Oxfam, etc., they all earn a fuck ton of money. How can you be the CEO of a charity and earn so much money? I cannot comprehend that. Like,
well,
where
because
does
you
this
do
money
so
go?
much work for the company, you see. You put so much of your time into it, so much of your life into it. You deserve all that money.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's exactly how it works. Yeah, I just the difference in wealth is it's just renders one speechless.
Like I said, I mean, I actually have a reasonable solution or a reasonable compromise that, like I say, that would very quickly close the gap between rich and poor. And this goes along with the corporation idea, like corporations take over kind of thing. But right, if every single corporation that's out there, right, they're all doing different business, different amounts of business, they're all more successful, less successful. But if they all started playing their, like, well, if you work for a corporation, you get everyone in that corporation, from manager to cleaner, gets the same amount of money because they're all needed, like, in that corporation. Yeah. So then obviously that automatically is pretty much overnight going to squish the rich poor divide. Yes, you're still going to have the corporation heads that are going to be a lot richer than the bottoms, but the gap's going to be a lot smaller. And then the competition becomes, which corporation can you work for? Like, I mean, to get a better wage. Like, you're not going to be want to working for a small corporation. You're going to want to working for a big one that's got more potential for making money, or a smaller one that has less less payouts and stuff to have to do, so you potentially earn more there and stuff. But again, that's only thinking within this system. That's not the ideal way I'd like to see things. Yeah, I just think it would be at least idea of, like I say, closing the rich poor divide while still keeping a capitalistic approach on things with competition between companies and stuff like that. But again, it's just a part-time solution to get people ready for the next phase, which I can't think of, like, if you know what I mean. I mean, people are always talking about problems, like we've got this problem, we've got this problem. So I just thought I'd put a reasonable solution, because this could reasonably be done. I mean, this is not out of the realms of imagination. It was not even something that would be very hard to do. The switch over would be pretty much, like I say, instantaneous. One day you're earning not much, the next day everyone's earning the same. Later that week you get your paycheck, everyone's fucking happy. Like, I mean, yeah, goods are going to go sky high, everything's going to get more expensive because all of a sudden everybody's got a shitload more money. So yeah, it's going to cause a bit of chaos and settle down, and I'm sure the elites will still figure out a way to stay the elite and all this kind of thing. But again,
Panama Canal. Offshore banks.
Yeah. Well, again, but like I said, it's just an interim idea to get us, or at least people, thinking differently. Because, like I say, I think the reason we haven't got the solutions a lot of the time nowadays is because we need to do a little change first, and once that change is initiated, then people's minds will change, and they'll be able to have ideas that will then move us further on and get better and better and better, rather than just letting it get worse and worse and worse all the time.
Yeah. Infinite Loops Lawson has just said the NHS is useless and corrupt, in his opinion. I have to disagree in the sense that it's useless. I don't think that it's useless at all. I do believe that Big Pharma has corrupted our NHS. But I think that if you want to have, there you go, yeah. I think if I need to have the price it costs in America so that people could have context, but the amount it costs for you to have a child is incredible, whereas the NHS, we get that completely free. If you have an issue, you can go to the NHS and try and, or the doctors or the hospital, try and find out what the crack is. If you get hit by a bus, what do you do in America?
Yeah, I know you've got to be insured, pay for it, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, like you say, it's not useless. It's been made useless, or not. Again, no, it's not useless because it does still help people, so that has a use. But they're working within a system, like I say, so they can't help you unless you
follow the rules.
You allow them. Yeah, you follow their rules. You follow their system. So no.
Which is like with you when you broke your back.
I do not agree. Some doctors and nurses are good people. No, I don't agree with that at all. I think they're all pieces of shit who follow the rules rather than care. Every single one of them. They pretend to care, but when it actually comes down to following through and showing they care, no, sorry, this rule says I can't do it. They're a piece of shit, every single one of them.
I differ. I think that every doctor, I think that most doctors and most nurses go into that profession to help people, and they have good intentions at heart. But in order for those to carry on helping people, they have to not help people as much as they would want to, which is like with you when you broke your back, all you wanted to do was smoke a doob, and they wouldn't allow you to get pain relief of your own medicinal herbal essence. You had to have pharmaceutical pills that were benefiting the hospital and benefiting Big Pharma.
Yeah, and once I'd made my intentions clear that I wasn't going to follow their rules, they would no longer then give me anything. They wouldn't treat me with morphine for the pain. They wouldn't treat me with anything. So I was there in complete and absolute agony just because I wouldn't follow their rules. Which, like I say, I've gone through the system. I mean, I know they don't give a shit about you. Where no matter how much they want to give a shit about you, they don't give a shit about you, because otherwise they would treat you regardless of any rule.
Yeah, and they'd lose their job, and you can't. I don't think anybody can deny that nurses do help people and that doctors do try and help people. Nobody can deny that. But they can't help the next person.
They try to help within their system, which is not them trying to help, it's them following a system, which is gives a pretense of them pretending to help when it's not really. This is what I mean. It's a fuckery. It's a bit of word salad there that means nothing.
Somebody just put just 2 drops under your tongue, and I think I know what he's on about because I caught a little bit of Jamie's stream, so I think he's on about what you do in the morning. Used to. Oh, do you not anymore? Oh, okay.
No, the only time I do that now is if I get ill, and I've not been ill for a long time. So
fair enough. But yeah, I think that it's definitely Big Pharma that has enabled the NHS to deteriorate. But I honestly would not want to pay for care if I get hit by a bus. I can't afford to pay for the way Americans have to pay for that.
No, at the moment you can't, but you'd be getting paid more in that kind of system to account for that.
Well, no, because there's still people who can't go to the hospital.
It's like if they suddenly change the system and said you've got to start paying for your healthcare, everyone's wages would have to go up in enough for you to cover the insurance. Otherwise, literally, the whole system would collapse. Literally, if the NHS goes under, the whole system will collapse because we haven't got the infrastructure to pay for insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone who's like, there's all these scare tactics and stuff. No, at most that'll gradually break it up a little bit more here, a little bit more there. We'd be paying for a little bit more here, a little bit more there, and eventually 20, 30 years down the line, we'll have the infrastructure there from this gradual change in the NHS to be able to start paying for our own insurance. But there's not going to be any overnight switch, and the NHS is suddenly just not there anymore.
So Tom just put, don't vote. It means that you agree to a system agree to the system if you vote. And whilst that is true, again, I don't want Tories in. I'm fed up of Tories. I don't want them in. I want to see what Jeremy Corbyn does. And I don't know. The thing is that I'm quite a bit younger than Dee. So when Dee says I'm not voting because I've seen this and I've seen that and I've seen Tories and I've seen Labour and none of them have done anything, for me, I haven't, as an adult, seen Labour in charge. So I haven't seen an alternative. For me, I will stop voting once I see a good Labour in charge, because that way I can then be like, okay, I'm not gonna. And if Labour get in, if Labour don't fix things that I think need to be fixed, and if it doesn't improve the state of the country, then I will stop voting, and I will completely agree with you. And I know that we are in a system that is broken, we're in a system that is fucked up. But like I say, right now, I just want to. For me, I want to see.
So again, broken is the wrong term because it is working exactly how it should be. I mean, that's the thing. It's a messed up system that needs adjusting. Because with this amount of people, I don't care whether we're overpopulated or not, that's not the issue I'm talking about. There is an awful lot of human beings around, and 99.9% of them are not ready for true anarchy. So we need a system in place for a long while until people are ready to self-govern. And we just need to, like I say, we the people need to take control of the system again. We need to stop letting them tell us what's what. We the people, the government's there to represent us. When they're not doing their job,
they should work for us
as citizens or whatever you want to call yourself of the country you live in, whatever corporation you live in, like, it's our duty. It's our duty to go and stop them from doing what we don't want them to do. And voting is not the way we do it. That is not the way we stop the government. It's never worked in the past, and it's never going to work in the future. The only way we've ever done it in the past is to stand up and rebel and make our voices heard. So let me know if you see any of that happening, and I might join in.
Yeah, if they tried to give us what we have today 50 years ago, we would have said fuck off. They do everything slowly. I'm going to vote. I'm still going to vote. And
I'm going to put the
and
link in the
you're well
chat. I've
within
forgotten.
your vote. Yeah, you were supposed to ages ago. Yeah, you're well within your right to not vote. We don't have to vote. But like I say, I just want to see what happens. I mean, I'll eat a hat if it gets much worse, but I don't think it could get much worse with Labour in charge. But I will eat Dee's hat.
No, I'm not like no. I need this to cover me bald spot.
If voting made a difference, you would not be allowed to vote. But the thing is not voting isn't achieving anything. That's the way I feel, and that's the way I think not voting hasn't achieved anything.
Well, we know not enough people have done it in the past.
But I just don't think. Well, that's the thing. There isn't enough people who aren't voting for it to be, for there to be a difference. There's just not. There's not enough people not voting.
Apart from the Brexit vote, it's saying like, what were we down to? 56% of the population voting. I'd say there's 44% not voting. That's an awful big.
It is, but if 44%, if 44% aren't voting, and that's not making a difference, what the fuck is going to make a difference?
It needs to drop below 50% legally, I think, before you can call a vote of no confidence against the government. And
would that cause a vote of no confidence against the Tories, or would that cause a vote of no confidence against
whoever's
everyone?
in power at the time? Yeah.
But we've had votes of no confidence, or I suppose they're against individual people. But what is that then going to achieve? Does that mean that the second highest people in the votes are going to get in? Nothing is going to be achieved from not voting. So for me personally, I am going to vote Labour to see if that makes a change. Also, I do not like Julian Knight, who is the MP for Solihull. He is a dick. He voted, and any of the MPs who have voted for this is one thing that really pisses me off. Feminine hygiene products are a luxury. We women, there's a few of us in the chat, we have to pay tax on sanitary products. And I don't think that we should. If you as a man don't have to pay tax on a razor blade to trim your beard, I don't think that I should have to pay tax on a product that is a necessity, that in my eyes is a necessity. It's like pita breads. Pita breads are a necessity. Pita bread is not a necessity. Pita bread bread's a necessity. Pita breads aren't a necessity. Get your head out your ass. But he voted for women to continue paying tax on sanitary products, which is fucking ridiculous. And if voting, where was that you just put up? And voting has achieved what we have now. So votes work. Yeah. No, that's not what I've said at all. That's not what I've said at all. If you opened your ear holes, you'd have heard that I said that I have not seen a true Labour government whilst being an adult. So I would like to see what happens if Labour gets in. That is what I said. So
to be fair, it would be interesting to see a change again. Don't get me wrong, but I'm certainly not going to vote either way on initiating that change. No, I'm done.
I look at how much the tabloids pushed not voting for Jeremy Corbyn and ridiculing Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Let me catch up. I fucking rebuilding her fucking mansion out of taxpayers' money was ridiculous. And when she has millions in the bank, pay for it yourself, you fucking lazy cow. You know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that the money she gets doesn't cover the amount of tourism that brings to the doesn't even cover the amount of tourism that brings to the economy. Because I remember somebody was saying, oh yeah, but she earns her money off the tourism. like if you calculate the amount of people that come across the world to look at a fucking house, well, a big house, then not even that covers her wage. So what does she actually do? And I think I said a couple of weeks ago, is that the boyfriend pointed this out to me, that she's supposed to be in government meetings and that she's represented via her saber. She's not actually representing herself. A saber is representing her, an inanimate fucking object. What help is she? Most 18-year-olds won't vote anyway. That's how Brexit happened. Older generation voted us out. I heard fine promises and lies to see in all history, and you're going to vote. If we say no more and stop work, they will fall. But again, there's not enough people who will. In an ideal world, this would all be fixed, but it's not an ideal world, and that sucks. It really does.
Yeah,
it really sucks.
Historically, the Queen received a grant from the government based on 15% of the income of the Crown estate. Yeah, but this has gone up to 25% to pay for refurbishments to Buckingham Palace. So, how much that is, there's no figure coming up, but that would be staggering amount. You're right. Yeah,
it's all good. Infinite loops, Lawson. I reacted with a programmed response there. So yeah, no, don't. Yeah, I shouldn't have acted in reacted in the way that I just did.
No, it's all good.
Look at that, validation boy. Look how easy this is. Oh my goodness.
To be fair, I don't think I've seen validation boy in the chat.
Amazing.
He's probably,
he has. I haven't either, but you know.
It's early for him still, though. I think it is probably like 5 in the afternoon for him or something. Or 3 in the afternoon. I wouldn't know.
Oh,
yeah, about
John
5-ish.
Presented the chat. Not going to overthrow shit. All good. Give me the link. Oh.
What?
Amazing. Just reading the chat.
Sorry, it takes a little while to catch up on you, and I'm not. I've gone off my phone, so I'm not on YouTube.
Because you're an old man.
So, well, no, it's not. It's like I say, I can click on it easy enough for it. Oh, I haven't thumbed us up yet either. Look. Oh, we got 6 thumbs down. Fuck you, thumbs down.
That's okay. They're all the same. Doesn't really matter.
Oh, Lee, yeah, the link's up there, mate. Just scroll up the chat a little bit, bud. Although you must be fucking pissed by now. You was knocking it down on Jamie.
I know he was. It could be a lot better here on Earth. We need a revolution. We do, but I think people are scared of being put in prison for standing up for what they believe in. People are scared of being beaten in the street by the police, which is why people aren't out. Me and Dee have had this chat before, that we as a society no longer go out and riot, and that's because the implications of rioting and the implications of standing up for what you believe in will end in people being arrested.
How's it going, Lieber?
I look at quadrophenia.
All right, mate.
Right,
Hold on, I can put my camera on. Let me just.
All right, mate. I'll trust you, or who you are, and if you're not, we'll just stop. And we've been going almost 2 hours now, anyway. So.
Yeah, hey, Ginley.
I'll put the old touchy touch on and video. There you go. Hey.
Me. So you're not smashed yet, then?
No,
I don't believe you.
I heard you having to go at everyone in chat like, fuck off, I can drink what I want, you fuckers, fuck you, son.
I'm not fucking, if I'm not fucking falling asleep, I'm all right yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just crack another one open. There you go. It's not Copperberg. So.
What are you drinking?
That stuff.
I don't
Polish.
Zuber.
It's Polish. Zuber. Yeah, it's Polish.
With your fancy nails there, you big puffer.
Yeah.
Mine are better.
Yeah.
Mine are sparkly.
Oh, you see, I don't have fancy nails like that. No, you see,
Yeah.
no.
You do know they're going to be chipped within like by the 20th, don't you? When you're off to this fucking concert.
I'm going to do them again anyway. I just want it. Like it's my daughter that says, "Oh, let me try it out, see what it looks like." Yeah, all right.
Yeah. To be fair, I got 2 girls myself. Yeah, I got painted with all sorts and makeup.
Oh man, yeah, I've you know, you put makeup on you. Come on, Dad, let me try my makeup skills on you. Yeah, all right, then you know, whatever. Yep. That's the thing when you have young. Like that's the only thing when you have daughters and that. Yeah.
My dad was an Ozzy Osbourne. Well, he was in a Black Sabbath tribute band called Black Sabbath, and he was Podgy Osbourne. And he used to have the black wig, so he'd go and have a shower with the wig on, and then come downstairs, and I'd have to dry it and straighten it for him so that he looked like good old Ozzy. So, yeah. Whereas I've only straightened my mum's hair like a few times, but I've straightened my dad's because he's bald. But with the wig, obviously, he's not bald. I've straightened my dad's hair so many times. Can I come on for a bit and say hi? But anytime, Tom, of course, yeah. The link's there for everyone. Come on and say your piece, man.
And this is the time for everyone to have their say, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll stop at 11. I'm going to call it 11 because I am tired. I know Kate, you're probably a bit hungover still.
Yeah, you've got another half an hour though, at least another half an hour.
Yeah,
cool, man.
And yeah, I drank a considerable amount last night on Jed's stream. For my birthday. If you haven't seen that, you'll see me with a party hat for the whole night. Yeah.
Party. Where were you partying last night, Cakes?
A hat of many colours.
Well, it was my birthday, so yeah, and I'm not very well, so I can't go out. So
what does it call it when you've missed it? When you miss someone's birthday. Berated. Happy when you
belated.
Return.
Belated, not berated. Don't berate me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Fucking hell. Hell, Lee. Tom packed us in like sardines in the city. Yeah. And that's another thing. You look at how happy people are out in the sticks compared to how happy people are like packed in these tiny little fucking houses. Like, humans need their space.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Lee?
People that live in people that live in cities that they're living in like little tiny 1-bedroom rooms, and they're like it's like the front room is the bedroom, and they've got like a bit of a kitchen, but it's all one room. You know, you get people that are living in cities and stuff. You know, where like in the country and that, you've got people living in like big houses and actual full houses, but in the cities, central places, yeah, they're all living in like little town rooms and stuff.
Well, it isn't. I kind of had this conversation with Cakes the other day, Lee. I mean, because I live in the country, and before I had my accident and everything, like I said, I lived in a little 2-bedroom cottage all to myself. It only cost me £525 a month for a 2-bedroom cottage. It's like literally right out in the country.
Wow.
And I mean, you just couldn't live like that in the city for that price. It's crazy. So I mean, why people live in the cities, I don't know. It's so much cheaper out in the country, unless you get a bum deal. But how's it going there, Tom? You all right, mate?
Yeah. Change it back to the names because we can't see Tom's face.
I'll get rid of the banner. So I'm getting rid of it now. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go. Hi, there Tom. You are. We can see you in all your glory.
You weren't on there a minute ago, were you?
I don't think Cakes has met Tom before.
Hi,
no.
Cakes. Nice
you were on Jamie's chat playing the ukulele, right?
Been on there.
And everybody said it was a tiny guitar, and I was like, does nobody know what a ukulele is? Like, how dumb of a society are we in if nobody knows what a fucking ukulele is? I have one. Huh?
Going back to the
You're classically trained, though, Cakes. Yeah, Cakes is classically trained.
Oh, I like classical. Well,
classically trained guitarist, yeah. Bitch can play Mozart.
But going on to NHS with doctors and nurses, I do believe, and well, I know that people go to become a nurse or a doctor to help their fellow people, man. But they're taught the medicine from the pharmaceutical companies how to treat everyone, and it's not the correct way. No. Like the Star Trek film where they had the whale and they went back in time, and you got Dr. McCoy, and he goes, "This medicine is barbaric. This is an outrage," type thing. But the people themselves, they believe they're doing a really good job. We still amputate gangrene and things like that. That shouldn't be done. No one should lose their limbs and that. I believe even if you lose a limb, as long as it's not sealed and left open, it will regrow. I'm not going to test it because it means chopping a limb.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I did hear. Yeah,
so I'm not
going to chop your leg or anything off, but I have heard people have grown fingers and stuff back.
Yeah.
How true
people
those stories are, I don't
know. But... they've had like a little stump with a hand sticking out the shoulder, and through health, healing, and natural medicine, it's just grown back out. The whole arms just come out. It was weird.
Yeah, you're on the right channel for people who are against modern day medicine anyway.
I'm dead against it, especially the pill for female hormone tablet.
Very interesting that you should mention that, actually, because my brother's girlfriend put on Facebook the other day. She says it was a post saying nowadays we have to choose between our mental health or having a baby. And that is so fucking accurate. My mental health absolutely spirals. Like, my hormones are up and down when I take the contraceptive pill. I had to stop taking it because I was just a fucking mess. I don't often cry, and I was in bits.
I had that infection.
I won't have that ever.
That made her swell up like a fucking balloon. She put loads of weight on within 4 or 5 months. She doubled in size, and she had loads of health issues and everything with it. And a lot of these contraceptive pills and stuff that don't work. Yeah.
Contraceptive pill though, Cakes. You felt like that? Wow.
Yeah.
How?
They're not good.
I know so many people who have had mental health amplified. I can't speak for people. I have anxiety with or without the pill, but it is definitely amplified with the pill. And I know a lot of people who do have mental health problems where their symptoms are increased with that pill. It
affects your body in so many unnatural ways, because it's not natural to stop a growth hormone within your body to produce new cells to create new life. You stopping that process is going to have an imbalance within the body and throw everything out of order.
See, I heard the basically the contraceptive pill isn't really. I mean, how true this is, because again, it's just something I've heard. But yeah, I mean, I heard the contraceptive pill doesn't actually stop you getting pregnant; it just aborts immediately once you are pregnant. It's not really a preventative measure. It's actually an abortion method.
Yeah, it's not like a Durex. What the contraceptive pill and everything like that does is kill the eggs, basically, kill whatever's coming in contact. It kills everything. Whereas condom is a barrier.
No, you see, the contraceptive pill my wife was on before I had the snip was it's sort of like you produce more of a wall, so the seed could not get through, more or less. I know it's a bit creative, it's all been going on talking about.
That's not true. What it does is it thins the womb's line so that the egg's not supposed to attach. However, what it also does is if the egg does attach and you do become impregnated, but I can't speak today. It thins your uterine wall.
Yeah.
And it does work as a abortion pill. Essentially, it will prevent. It's supposed to so. Because your uterine wall is so difficult to explain to men, because the uterine wall is so thin, it doesn't make it possible for, I don't care, it doesn't make it possible for a sperm inside an egg to remain on the uterine wall. So what it does is, because that is now an inhabitable environment, it doesn't abort you, it miscarries you.
Yeah.
Abortion and miscarry is completely different, but it's the same thing. It will make you miscarry. What you were saying, that forming a wall, it thickens the mucus in the cervix to prevent sperm from passing through, but obviously that isn't 100%. Because you're doing all of those things, you're essentially telling the female body that the female body is pregnant, and that causes the woman to put on weight because she thinks she's supposed to be, the body thinks that she's supposed to be feeding a child, when in reality that nutrition is staying inside the female body. That's one of the reasons why I put on a lot of weight in March when the boyfriend moved in, and now I'm starting to lose that weight because I've been off the pill for a few months now. But that's how it works.
Well, the same thing happened to my daughter. She went on this contraceptive and she just piled the weight on. And I said, that's the injections you're having. And when I said to her, get an insert and look for the side effects, and one of the side effects is weight gain.
And that's why I won't have the injection, and I won't have the implant in my arm. No, not the coil. The coil is fucking terrifying. The coil is so scary. I've seen images of your body trying to push it out, and instead it kind of wraps around it, and then the coil is lost inside you. The coil's moved around, and I spoke to a nurse, and she was like, "Yeah, that doesn't happen," and but it does.
And the other thing with the coil as well, I don't care, how big you are or whatever, but it does hurt the man as well. The wife had to get hers trimmed a couple of times, and even then, you could still get to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I've never had it, so that's a very interesting thing to hear, because the nurse also said you won't be able to feel the string, and I'm like, bitch, when I've got a tampon in, which I don't use anymore because I don't want that
they're not good.
fucking shock thing, and they're horrible. But you can feel the string there, so why can't I feel the string of a coil? Like, they just lie to you.
Yeah. But tampons, you're right. You shouldn't use them because the toxins that are within the tampon go direct into your bloodstream. Your nerve endings all go into your vagina, same as a guy with a penis and whatever. Our nerve endings, that's one of the places that it goes. The other way is through your hair and everything, but another subject. But yeah, all our nerve endings go there. So
that's why I don't. Bit of a personal bit of information for you there, chat. I don't use them. No. Good old sanitary towels will do for me.
Yeah. There is my wife. My
coil. I got the wife to remove the coil, and I went and had the snip. Now, if I knew now what I know, or would have known then, I would never have had the snip. It's the worst thing I did.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what caused a lot of my problems. I think I had prostate cancer, not confirmed. It was only suspected what I thought I had, but I cured myself. So. Of all my illnesses, I'm 54 next week.
Next week.
Happy birthday for next week.
Thank you.
Happy birthday for next week.
54.
So all three of you have had the snip then?
I have, yeah.
So I know Dee has, definitely. And Lee, you mentioned it a couple of minutes ago.
I don't think no man should have that. No man should have the snip.
I was only a boy. I was 25 when I had the snip, so yeah, I was still a boy basically.
But at first I thought it made no difference, but then it seems that you don't seem comfortable, or the way you're sitting and things like that, But mine went all lumpy and the tubes all fattened up. My sperm was
scar tissue.
Yeah, my sperm was the color of grey, phlegmy, lumpy. It was horrible. and it didn't spurt out; it just dripped out. I had a lot of problems.
So I had no problems whatsoever. To be fair, really.
It was my medical condition at the time. Like, you know, I'm just saying. Now it's perfect. I ain't got them problems.
VB's here now that I've mentioned.
I can hit a wall 20 feet away.
I think VB is Beetlejuice or Bloody Mary because I've mentioned him and he's appeared. I can't imagine how much germs fester under.
Asian boy, so I can't put chat up on. I should say at the moment my chat's broken on StreamYard.
We've lost Tom.
It's not going up, so I can't put people's comments on. But yeah, poor validation boy. He's no longer a man. He's had the tip of his penis cut off. They
weren't on about the snips. That kind of
no wonder he's messed
about...
up and thinks women are all fucked. Like, I mean. He's not got the tip of his penis, for Christ's sake. I'd be angry as well, mate. No, I'm half joking there. But no, I have heard, to be fair, that it's not a good thing to get circumcised. Yes, just make sure you give yourself a good fucking clean every day so you're not getting your fucking under your foreskin all cheesy. But yeah, I've heard it actually protects you an awful lot having a foreskin, and those secretions as well under the foreskin are there to help as well. So
I've never been with a bloke that's circumcised.
I think in America it's a big thing. You're more likely to be circumcised in America than not, or something. Even though
English people
they're not
don't tend to get the snip unless they're Jewish.
No, we don't do it over here. It's like
So I have no frame of reference. But they weren't on about that kind of snip, VB. They were on about what's it called?
Vasectomy.
Vasectomy.
But no, I mean,
David
to be fair,
just said I 100% agree with. By the way,
there is one advantage to having circumcision that I did hear about, and it thickens up the skin. So you are less likely to contract sexually transmitted diseases and Tom's back, and AIDS. Sorry, Tom, mate. Sorry there, bud.
Waving away.
I was like,
but yeah, no, I think that it's mutilation as well.
Yeah.
100%. I think. There you go.
It's got to be a traumatic experience if done as a baby when you don't know what's happening. You're just suddenly getting all this pain.
It sickens me, you know, when baby they can't give them anesthetic or anything like that, so because they're too small or whatever, and they wouldn't be able to take it. So the pain that they feel is all natural, and babies go through scrutinizing pain when they chop that foreskin off. Because again, the nerve endings are all there, and you've chopped all that off. But in the Jewish community, the way they sterilize that is by the Jewish minister or whatever would go down and suck it. And
I've seen those clips. That's disgusting.
I know.
Yeah, because the same in the saliva, they say, don't they, that stops it bleeding or something. It's
sterilized. It'd have been better off using some of his urine or something to sterilize it rather than his saliva. The saliva has more germs, but it's just disgusting the whole way they do it. And it's all, to me, it seems like pedophilic, you know, pedophile type thing mentality.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
And notice how we are so against female genital mutilation and cutting off labia. Whereas why are we not so against, or why are Americans not so against circumcision, yet they're very against having labias cut off and clitoris cut off and stuff like that?
I couldn't believe that when I looked into that women, especially in like South African type countries, don't want to pick on
horrible.
And they take away their clitoris and
by pleasure.
I think that
they sew up the actual vagina as well and make it thinner.
Yeah. It's just brutal what they do. Fucking the things that humans do around this world, it disgusts me. It brings me to tears. Like I say, I'm a grown man, 54. and I cry some nights.
Hmm?
I was crying.
Don't say that in front of D.
I was thinking about.
Don't say that in front of D.
Yeah, I was thinking about 9/11 and all the people that have died, the men and women that have given their lives for the Queen and country and everything, and it's all needless. We shouldn't have. No wars should have been started. They're all under false pretense.
No. People don't start wars. Governments start wars.
I have no argument
Yes,
with anyone
absolutely.
around the world. Jew, you know. Oh, I don't know. Anyone. I don't have a fucking argument with anyone, and probably neither do you. You know, you go on holiday, you enjoy the people and everything you're around.
Yeah.
I
Miss
hate
Fire
people,
just put it takes the
unfortunately.
joy out of sex for women. Female genital mutilation is awful, and I question whether it does the same for men as well, because obviously you're let's say, for example, you've got fingernails, and you break a nail. Underneath there, like inside there, is really sensitive when you break a nail, because that skin has been covered. It's very, or when you've had a plaster on for a long time, that skin becomes sensitive because it's been covered. But if you have short nails all the time, the tip of your fingers aren't sensitive at all. So does that not stand to reason that the same thing would happen with circumcision as well?
Yeah.
That you are desensitizing the tip of a peen. You
It's
know?
not saying that they wouldn't be able to perform or have sex or anything like that. It's just their sensations are lesser, I think.
I think they'd be lesser as well.
I wouldn't know that,
obviously,
I've
there's
still got my skin.
But if you walked around, if you pulled it back and walked around for a few days with and acted as though you don't have a foreskin, and then I don't think you'd feel as much after a few days.
It becomes numb.
Yeah.
Which is probably better in a sense where they last longer. I'm sure people without foreskins last longer than people with foreskins.
But then you just go again.
Yeah.
You know?
And again.
Just go until you're both happy, you know?
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Until you're both happy. The thing is, men think that, you know, once they've come, that's it. You know, they've got to lay back and fucking, oh, thank you, I have a fag now. But no, they should just carry on like you just said until both parties are happy.
Well, that's what we do.
Yeah. Even if it takes all night.
Yeah. Damn fucking straight. Oh, Jesus.
But I've learned one thing over the last few years is men should not ejaculate as much as what they do. Women should.
Really?
They should orgasm all the time. I don't know. It's just the feeling I got when with just my wife. I can't speak for you, but if you have an orgasm, do you feel more energetic or less energetic?
Yeah, no, more.
More energetic, yeah.
More.
Whereas a man, when he ejaculates,
we were talking about this the other day, last night actually.
It's the opposite. It's like the yin and yang. It's the fucking opposite of what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A man feels knackered, his energy is drained, yet a woman's like. But if you do it correctly, you can both have that energy. And it's all about the divine feminine and all that. And I've only learned this in the last 2 years. I've been married 33 years. And to be honest, I thought I satisfied the wife. But
as most men do, yeah.
I know I fucking didn't.
What was that until she told you?
No. With the way I've learned things now, like, you know, she got satisfied, but not to the extent what she is now. Because I've learned to give rather than just take.
She used to whimperly, now she screams.
Yeah, basically. But I used to like most men, they're just in it for themselves, you know.
Yeah.
to do it in wham bam, thank you, mum, sort of thing. Like, you know. But then you realize, no, if the more you give, and this reverts to everything in life, the more you give, the more you get back. So when I have my ejaculation, orgasm, or whatever, it's tenfold, if not more. I even feel hers. And sometimes I don't need to ejaculate. I have sex and don't ejaculate. Because I feel what she feels. So, and it's way better than what I would have anyway. I know it's crazy, but
No, not really. It's not crazy, Tom.
yeah.
No.
But
No, it's bonkers, mate. Absolutely bonkers.
but you can actually feel your
You
partner's
know,
emotions, feelings, and everything, and that's why you know what to do once you get to that stage. And I've learned that by the demigods like Isis, you know.
yeah.
Looking into ISIS, and this is why I know that the old terrorism thing is bullshit, because they took a name of ISIS, they tried changing it to ISIL once they realized the mistake they made, because they said that ISIS is, you know, evil and destruction, and she's not. She was good. She was married to Isis, which was her brother, and then they gave birth to Horus, which is the guy with the horns. But that was because of the deformity, because they were brother and sisters, and obviously the same blood causes deformities in the children.
Yep.
Yeah, look at the royals.
Yeah. Oh. Do you know, I would have died
look
for
at the royals,
country and all this, like, and gone to war and given my life up. And then you realize the lies that were told, and oh, not now. Now it's like,
I'm glad I grew up with asthma, like I say, because otherwise I'd be in the Marines, or would have been in the Marines, and stayed there for a career, like, because that's what I kind of intended in my later teens and stuff, like, because I'd been in Marine cadets and all that kind of stuff, and it was that's where I wanted to go, like. Nope.
Do we have anyone waiting in our backstage?
No.
I was just give a shout out to the vegan realist, Jamie Brown, vegan realist. He's in the chat.
Yeah, check out the description, guys. I'll put Vegan Realist and Jed Skeptic Media in there. I will be adding more channels to the description. They're just recommended channels, on not necessarily recommended, but channels that I think are worth a
channels that we enjoy.
Worth a watch.
Because you'll see us on both of those channels often.
Just see chat. I don't know how far behind this chat is like, but it's validation boy. And he's put, can't imagine how many germs fester on an uncircumcised tip.
Yeah, you missed that.
Yeah, that's what got us into the conversation of circumcision. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think.
As long as you clean it, I mean, it's.
Well, this is it. But them germs are actually beneficial to the skin and everything around that area.
There he is.
Oh, we got
you're right, VB.
Come and defend himself.
Like that. If you clean it,
how you doing, VB?
No problem.
Come and defend his mutilation.
You as tired as us, VB.
You looks like you're in a car. Are you in your car? It looks like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you in?
Just talking about.
No, I mean, I was just saying.
Oh, I'm breaking up a bit.
That would always be cheesy under there.
It can be.
I don't really know. I got it as a baby.
Right. Well, I've gone 2 weeks without cleaning when I was in the army, out in the field and exercise and things like that. And when you peel back the skin, it is crusty. It is horrible. But under normal circumstances, you can clean that every day. And you do get a amount of, like you say, germs and whatever. It's a white substance. And a fair bit comes off there. But you know what? If you eat healthy, you get virtually nothing from there. And I've done this because I went raw vegan for 2 months. And at the end of the, well, after a month, I noticed that I didn't need to clean in that area as much. Well, there was nothing to clean. So I think most of what comes out of the end of your penis is toxins and things that shouldn't be in the body. It's one way of the body getting rid of everything.
Yep, there is that, Tom. Yeah.
And with the skin being there, it covers it up, so it's seen. Where you ain't got the skin, so you're rubbing it on your pants through the day and everything, and it's rubbing off. Whereas with the skin on, it's just enclosed and it's kept it there until you pull it back and then clean it off. So is it better to have the skin or not have the skin? I don't know.
I don't kind of discharge just going into my pants all day. There's not any, wetness or moisture down there.
I don't know. So it's speculation because
that might be.
I've still got mine. You haven't, so we don't know. We don't talk about these subjects, to a fellow guy normally, do you?
Yeah.
Well,
but Cakes is right though. Men are mutilated and women are not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that kind of goes along with the whole female agenda there, really, like putting suffering on men when, women are being left alone in the Western world, and yeah.
What does it do to the women over in Africa that get their vaginas chopped up?
They have it to their way.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to actually hear from one of these women that's had it done, rather than from the people that are complaining about it getting done on women, if you know what I mean. Just to hear what they've got to say about it and stuff.
That's true, Pete. That's true. Yeah.
But I feel like VB likes the fact that he's circumcised, and you guys like the fact that you're not circumcised. So, is it just because you are that's how you have grown up to?
Will it not be my skin? I don't know what it's like to have it off, and I'm not at 54 about to chop it and find out and then say that's worse off. I wish I kept my skin. I'm going to leave it as it is. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll clean.
If it's that whole.
That'd be it.
If you don't know different, or if you know no different, does it matter?
No.
Not really, Cakes. No.
What I'm saying is, if we're God's creation, we're all made perfectly. Why chop and mutilate and put tattoos? Or I know most of us have tattoos. I was going to get one myself, but I didn't. But I think it's all changing our body the way that it was intended. We weren't intended to have things chopped off and big ears and big noses and holes in everything. I know piercings and all that, but I don't.
VB's been wanting to say something. What were you going to say, VB?
I've heard it argued that men
have got that extra layer of healed skin, which is usually thicker than normal skin.
To be honest, when I was in Central America, we were wearing shorts, and I never used to wear underwear. And sometimes the skin would come back and it rub against the shorts, and I just left it because it was a nice feeling.
Because you're a dirty old perv, yeah.
But yeah, you're probably right. It stimulates you and wants you to have more and more sex, so then the population grow more. So yeah, I think you're probably right there, Phalation boy. Yeah, definitely onto something there. I think it's done to stimulate so you have more sex, so you become more sensitive. Don't forget, when that skin's over it, it's not as sensitive when it's moving around, when you're moving around. Whereas if
apparently we've frozen.
Sensitive.
We haven't. I've just scrolled up on the watch page, which we've not.
What? So?
I think it was VB freezing whilst he was talking, but we know he's driving.
Right,
so.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
I just thought I'd hop in and talk about penises.
Yeah, why not? What else would we talk about?
All right.
I'm going to sparked a little bit of conversation anyway, but yeah, cheers, Valerie. Yeah,
and thanks for celebrating my birthday with me last night.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Remember Jim Giraffe. Don't let Jim Giraffe in any room.
Yeah, no Jim Giraffes here. Don't worry.
Yeah, luckily
Yeah,
we're little enough now that we
ask
don't attract too many trolls at the moment. So yeah.
I know it's not good to ask a woman her age, but how old are you now, Cakes? If you don't mind.
45. She's 45.
20,
VB.
27 yesterday.
25.
I still have follicle retention.
I thought you were in the 30s, to be
Did you
honest,
say
Cakes.
25, Cakes? Yeah, 25.
27.
27. Right, okay, cool. 27.
I
Well,
thought
good seeing you guys.
it was
I'm
about 44, to be
gonna
honest. Sorry, Cakes.
hop off. I'm gonna hop off camera. I'm gonna hop
All
off
right,
camera. It's good
VB.
seeing you.
Thanks
I'll
for
watch the rest
dropping
of the
now.
show. All right, see ya.
Yeah, cheers,
All right.
VB, and enjoyed Grey Area very much last night, man.
Yeah, peace, man. Nice.
We like VB.
20
He has a good
okay.
channel as well, doesn't he? Fellow Asian boy.
Hmm.
Sure, I've watched
Yeah, he's
some
got. Yeah. I mean, into the MGTOW stuff. And again, it's not how he defines himself, but it's it's very much a subject strong in his stuff. But I will add that link to the description as well to Validation Boys. I'll add Tom in and Lee. Do you do stuff?
Pardon?
Do you do stuff on YouTube? Do you want me to put your channel in the description? Because Tom, you go live on occasion and
Yeah, I
stuff.
do, yeah.
On there, it's no, not really. Yeah, I'd leave that
I
for now.
don't keep the
Yeah,
live
I'll
ones.
leave you, Lee. Don't worry.
When I do a live stream, I don't keep that public. I usually make it private after a couple of days, then stick it on private. But I also do videos of the skies. You know, I class myself as one of these sky watchers with cameras and everything. And I just get up the other day or every day about the sky and everything. Watched one the other day about it was Mike 5D, and the planes were literally just going in circles with the chemtrails, drawing circles in the sky. People don't realize.
Yummy.
Yep.
Cool. Well, we've hit 11 o'clock, D.
Oh, we have. Yeah.
We
Sorry,
have.
Validation Boy came on and kind of distracted me from the time there, but it's been a good show tonight, guys. Yeah, no, thanks for jumping on and adding to it.
Thanks for having
it's been good.
Right,
yeah, well, we're here every Sunday, so like I say, it's
well, I'll be working for the next 3, so you can have a break from.
Well, you can watch it back.
Yeah. I say with me coming on, you can have a break. Thank you for having me.
Before on Jamie's Vegan Realist channel and food and stuff.
Yeah, definitely check out Vegan Realist. You will see Lee there on occasion. Tom was there earlier. He has all sorts of guests on. Usually find me over there as well. Cakes will be there on occasion. Definitely. Like I say, and the link is in the description for Vegan Realist, and I'll be adding more as well. So
yeah.
Oh, nice one. Anyway, thanks for letting me in and stuff.
Yeah, cheers, Lee, man.
Excellent stuff. Nice one.
Yeah, catch you next time, Lee, man.
Catch you next time. All right. See you later.
See ya.
See you later, bud.
And thanks for everyone who's been in the chat today and contributed and, give us your opinion. We love it.
This podcast would be nothing without you guys.
That's true. Well, I mean, it would just be me and you just
having non-normal conversations.
Randomness. But yeah, thanks for all the continued support and whatnot.
Yes.
Anything else you want to
add? No, that's it. So yeah, thanks all, and we'll catch you next time.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.
A couple of clicks. Oh.